Hello and welcome to the big picture. Every time a parliament session takes place, the debate over its functioning turns towards the repeated disruptions which happen in both houses of parliament. In its 61st year of existence, the Indian parliament is increasingly earning a dubious reputation for the chaos one witnesses more often than not. Though it's accepted as a vibrant democracy with multitude of aspirations and political parties, the parliament cannot but reflect them. However, the statistics of the performance shows the decline in number of working hours and the increase in non-functioning hours of both houses. While the first Lok Sabha sat for 3,784 hours in 14 sessions, the present Lok Sabha, the 15th one, has sat only for 1,157 hours during the 12 sessions held so far. Even as indiscipline and chaos prevails, many efforts by the chair in both houses to bring order to ensure better functioning have proved futile. This week we witnessed a rather distraught chairman of the Rajya Sabha sticking off members and pleading for better discipline. Has the time come for all political parties to put their heads together and take steps to deal with indiscipline and chaos more seriously? Is it not time for the parliamentarians to reflect on how to ensure smoother functioning and to stem the increasing feeling of despair felt among the people about their behavior? We will discuss all this today with an eminent panel of guests. I have with me Dr. Najma Heptullah, the BJP Rajya Sabha MP and a distinguished parliamentarian for over 3 decades, Dr. M.S. Gill, a Congress Rajya Sabha MP, Bhartruhari Mahtab, BJD MP in the Lok Sabha, and Sachidananda Murthy, resident editor of the Week magazine, who has observed parliament for over 2 decades. Welcome to all of you. Dr. Heptullah, I would like to come to you first. Do you agree that in the last few sessions, we are seeing more time lost in disruption than actual normal functioning of the House?
How long have you been observing the parliament?
For over 2 decades, madam.
Okay. I have been for 3 decades.
Yes, I know.
And these 3 decades, almost 18 years, I was in the chair.
I know.
I also face very difficult situation.
Right.
So it is not a new phenomena which you are trying to say, that it has suddenly appeared from nowhere.
Right. So
then there were 2-party system also.
Right.
Please let me speak. I am speaking from experience.
Yes, yes.
When there were 2-party system, there were issues and differences between. Now we have multi-party system. There are regional political parties, and the regional parties have got regional aspiration which have to put it before the House. Now, anyone in the chair, whether it is honorable chairman or presiding or deputy chairman or even the members of the panel, I have seen in all these years, have to bear with these things.
How
because
long?
These are occupational hazards.
So you think that what
I will tell you one thing.
No, yes, please, yes.
One thing. Why? What is the job of the parliament? What is the job of the members of parliament? To bring before the House, before the government, what are the issues concerning the nation at large. We are representing the people of the country in the House. And what is the job of the government is to answer. And what is the job of the chair is to act as a referee so that there is a fair play. I have observed whenever government has come forward to answer, there have been very smooth functioning in the House. Whenever government has shied away from answering the members of parliament's queries and anguishes, then the honorable chair is put into a difficult situation.
Right.
Because they have to do what the government wants. And that is not a fair play.
So you think that in the present circumstances which we are witnessing in the last several sessions, the chair is, has found itself in a very tricky situation, and it is not, and it is the making of the government, and not the opposition. Opposition has no role to play in that.
Opposition? Which opposition you are talking? Today's opposition?
Today's
or
opposition.
Those who are sitting in the ruling party?
Today's opposition.
No, they have also been in opposition in No. But what about the ruling party when it was in the opposition? They behaved in the same manner.
I'm talking in general terms of the opposition party.
No,
which is in the
you
opposition.
are talking... Correct. So it means the entire house is responsible. And never, ever in my experience for last 31 years, I have seen a ruling party members coming into the well, whether in the Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha.
Okay.
They restrain because they are answerable to the people. Their party is answerable to people.
Absolutely.
Their government is answerable to people.
Absolutely.
Everybody points out to the opposition.
Okay.
What about the ruling party?
Okay. Let me go to...
I am not blaming anybody. I am neither blaming anybody nor I am exonerating anybody.
Okay.
I am just giving the exact picture.
Okay.
That these are occupational hazard. Whoever in the chair has to face it.
Okay.
Surely, the political parties should come together and the government should bring together to solve this logjam.
Okay.
It is not once. I have seen in 31 years. If you want, I can give you a record how many times which member of parliament who is now sitting in the ruling party giving sermons to the opposition. They did the same when they were there.
Okay, Dr. Heptullah, please stay on. I'll come back to you. Mr. Gill, you have been a relatively new member compared to Dr. Heptullah, but you have been witnessing and seeing what is happening in the house. You think that it is just an occupational hazard, and what has been happening is something which has been happening all along, and we just have to, this is something which we have to deal with.
No, first of all, I've been long enough in the Rajya Sabha now.
Yes,
please.
Comparing you to Dr. Heptullah, that's all.
No, don't compare. Now, please let me talk for 2 minutes.
Yes.
And don't interject.
Right.
Because then I can't say anything. I've been long enough to have understood what is going on. I am personally very clearly of the view that, of course, the working time of the Rajya Sabha of both houses of parliament has diminished over the years. I've been watching it from outside also for long. And this is a Mahapanchayat for the billion or more people of this country, largely poor, to express their grievances and to try and resolve them. It has to be a forum where such expressions of difficulties or unhappinesses can be properly expressed. And then the government of the day, and both parties have been in power off and on, and will be in the future also, they have to then try and address it. But I of course personally regret that our time of productive work is diminishing and diminishing and diminishing. Right. In fact, I tend to think now that getting the house adjourned by whosoever does it, whenever, today or yesterday, has become almost a mechanism of political action. I don't think it should be. It is not so in the advanced democracies of the world. We may be the largest democracy, but we've got to keep these things in mind. And I feel, the political parties, I've been India's chief election commissioner once upon a time, and the political parties had long before I came written out a code of conduct. And the commission started enforcing it, and today it is pretty substantially enforced.
Right.
I think it is time all the political parties sat down in a private conclave without rhetoric, without scoring points, and try and see how they can give more to Parliament and more to the people of India.
Okay. Mr. Mahtab, you have been witnessing the chaos in the house for quite some time now. You think the time has come now for us to, all the political parties at least, to come to a decision that when such indiscipline happens, whatever is there present in the rules and procedure, at least that should be implemented. At least, some disciplinary action needs to be taken, which is already there in the rules book. Mr. Mahtab? Mr. Mahtab, can you hear me? Okay, I think I'll come back to Mr. Sachi. You think the same question which I asked Mr. Mahtab, you think that time has come when all these people should sit together and say, okay, regardless of who is doing it, some action needs to be taken, so order needs to be restored.
Girish, exactly on an Independence Day
Yes.
in 1997,
Right.
on the Golden Jubilee of the Indian Independence, parliamentarians sat in the Central Hall of Parliament
Right.
at midnight and passed a resolution, every party which is now in Parliament, took a vow that we shall not disrupt proceedings of Parliament, we'll go do it
Will
in
not
order.
walk into the well of the house.
Not in well of the house. It was a solemn pledge given to this nation
In the midnight.
At midnight on August 15, 1947.
1997.
16 years away from that. After that, if you are still doing it, what is the point of another sitting in We have to do it in our behavior, not in taking pledges. How many pledges can we take it? I think that is where both sides will have to cooperate, opposition and the government. And I think the time has come for presiding officers to be tough. There was a presiding officer in the previous Lok Sabha who was quite tough,
Yes.
and who by sheer will of his personality could get much business done. I think that's what the present chairman of the Rajya Sabha had done a few sessions ago. He took tough action and it had a salutary effect for some time. I think that's where we should not keep saying that this is the right of the members to disrupt. No, they should be given more opportunity to explain.
Right.
But if question hour is not allowed, which is the members' time, then what is the point of saying that each member has a right to disrupt 543 other members? It is not possible.
Mr. Mahtab, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Mr. Mahtab, my question to you was that has the time come now, after watching the kind of incidents which have been happening, the kind of disruptions, the kind of non-functioning of the House, do you think time has come now for all political parties to come to a conclusion, accept the fact that the presiding officers have to take tough action against such behavior?
I'll tell you the facts.
Yes.
Presiding officer cannot act on its own.
Right.
A resolution has to be moved by the Treasury.
Right.
Then only the presiding officer will act.
There are
Hello?
there are rules of procedure of functioning in the House. Those
Yes.
rules of procedure, give certain powers to the presiding officers to take action against members who are not disciplined or who are disrupting
Yes.
the House.
Even
that is not being. None of the presiding officers are unable to even use those mechanisms which they have.
Now, what I'm trying to say is, presiding officer cannot act on his own. He's a part of the process. He or she is a part of the process.
Yes.
And what is happening today in the House,
Yes.
especially in Lok Sabha, I would say,
Yes.
one may term it that because I'm from the opposition, I'm saying this.
Right.
But what I'm saying today is, for last so many days, I think today is the 7th or 8th day the
Right.
disruption has taken place. It all starts from the ruling alliance, from the ruling party. They disrupt the question hour. And that prompts the opposition, especially from Andhra Pradesh Telugu Desam members. There may be few in number, hardly 4. But they troop to the well. And there the problem starts.
Mr.
And if-
Mahtab,
Yes.
sorry to intervene. See, let us not get into the specifics of who did what the other day, who did the next day.
That is
This
the problem.
my-
when you
I-
say something,
that's why-
all parties should come together.
Exactly.
You are
You have to
addressing
listen.
the opposition and the ruling
You have to
alliance.
listen.
Sorry, may Heptullah still, please.
You have to take
What I am
all parties
saying,
together
what
means
Mr. Mahtab is giving the procedure.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, I'm listening to him. Yes, Mr. Mahtab.
first it is the ruling alliance. The onus lies basically on the ruling alliance or the ruling party to see the house run. They have the bill before the parliament which should be passed. The onus lies with the ruling alliance. If that moral authority the ruling alliance or the treasury bench can impress upon the opposition that here we are prepared with a bill, we want you to cooperate for running this bill. If the ruling alliance troops to the well, if ruling alliance creates problem inside the house.
Mr. Mahtab, my question is this. Is this. Whether it's a member of the ruling alliance or it's a member of the opposition party, don't you think that the presiding officer should have the freedom to take action against whoever is disrupting the house?
No, you have to go by convention, you have to also follow certain rules and regulations. If it is going to, you give total freedom to the presiding officer.
Yes.
She has to function inside the house. She has to run the house. She cannot arbitrarily take certain decisions.
Okay, let me ask Dr. Heptullah, because she has been on that chair for quite a number of years. Dr. Heptullah, you think that presiding officers being given this freedom to act according to the rule book, I am not saying that they should act arbitrarily. Don't you think that is that one of the solutions to this problem? Can the presiding officer be given a free hand to go by the rule book and act accordingly?
Agreed. I was the most anguished person in the chair.
We have heard your anguish quite a lot.
Suffering side.
Right.
Yeah, you have seen it for 17 years, how. But the main thing is, not a single person was ever thrown out of the house or withdrawn from the house during those 17 years, nor I said a word which I had to regret. And still the house ran and we did the business. The main thing is, we should find out why the members are agitated. Senior members, whether they are in opposition today or whether the others who are sitting and giving a sermon were in the opposition benches, when any government does not perform its duty to answer in the house the concern of the people which are expressed by the members of parliament on the floor of the house, and the presiding officers do not act according to the rule book to protect the rights of the members, to make the government answerable, then naturally there is going to be agitation. What members were asking for all these days, that I'm giving the present example.
Yes.
That what is happening at our borders, what is the concern about our people for our armed forces and the neighbor which is violating the peace at the border, the killing of our soldiers in ambush, the statement of the defense minister. Yesterday they were talking about the cases regarding corruption. Now you think if the whole country is concerned about it, we should not. Under RTI, the government is answerable to an ordinary people.
No, okay.
Ordinary person.
So you say...
But what about the members of parliament who officially represent?
Dr. Heptullah.
My answer is only one.
Yes.
My reaction is only one.
Yes.
The chair should be fair. The chair should act as a referee.
And you think that...
I have many times... No, I'll tell you what ruling. My ruling is, many times I have given the ruling from the chair. I at that time belonged to the ruling party.
Yes.
I was a member of the ruling party. And I presided over as a member of the ruling party and as a member of the opposition party when Congress was in opposition.
Right.
And I always said, I am a referee. My job is to see a fair play. My job is not to kick the ball for either of you.
Okay.
And I didn't do it.
Okay. You're
that impression should not be brought to the house.
You are essentially trying to say that the present situation, the present problem is being created by the government and not by the opposition. Let me get Dr. Gill in on this. Dr. Gill, would you like to react to that?
And the fight, one thing I want to clear.
Yes.
The fight is not against the chair. The fight is against the government.
Absolutely.
Our anguish is against the government, not the chair.
Absolutely. The fight should not be against the chair.
But it is not.
Okay. Dr. Gill?
Well,
no, never.
Okay, let us get Dr. Gill.
Well, I don't want to go into this very personalized way of discussing the problem of parliament. as to who was a good chairman or who was a good speaker and how they should act and who are the people guilty today or yesterday or the day before.
Right.
I am trying to say something else.
Yes.
Yes, you know what V.S. Naipaul wrote in his book, if you recall.
Yes.
India has 1 million mutinies. By that it means there are 1 million concerns. We are rich and poor, different religions, different regions, every kind of problem. And yes, those should be expressed in this great Mahapanchayat, which is Parliament. And that is the only way to express it and to then look for some redressal. But there has to be some sanjam even in expressing that. And yes, all parties, whenever they have a responsibility, must react positively. And you see, the whole business of Parliament, as far as I am concerned, it is a place where you listen with courtesy to others and have the big heart to listen quietly. And then when you speak, they listen. But अगर कोई भी नहीं सुनेगा और सारे ही कुछ करेंगे तो फिर कैसे चलेगा?
So Mr. Gill, sorry, my last question to you is, do you think, my question with earlier question which I asked to others, do you think that the presiding officer should have enough leeway to use the powers that they have under the rules when they have to deal with this kind of situation what we are witnessing?
You see, in India, we are always looking for powers for the presiding officer or the chief election commissioner and hope that that individual is going to solve all our problems which we might have created. I look at it differently. The rules are still here. In fact, you can make new rules tomorrow, but of course they are made by the consent and the choice of the House. And we have given up applying them because that this practice of this kind of situation which we are discussing has been accepted over long years. That's what I've seen also for 7-8 years now.
Yes.
This has to change. If you really want to have the speaker's role, please look at the House of Commons. I've been there many times to sit and listen. First of all, the speaker is not challenged in his election. Once they choose a speaker, ladies also, they go on and on till they choose to retire. They become effectively neutral above all parties. And nobody ever disturbs the speaker. When the speaker stands up, you will not even whisper.
Right.
And his order is obeyed.
Right.
Now here we've reached a certain other situation. Speakers have to fight elections. Then there are all sorts of factors involved. And various parties feel in different ways about the presiding officers. We've got to correct this. But there has got to be some sanjam in this country's parliament. That's all I can say.
Okay, Sachi, final words to you. Yeah. You think that the presiding officers have become a pawn in the hands of the opposition and the ruling party? We have seen some very unlikely situations which we have witnessed in the last few days, especially that the chair is being accused of things. Yeah. And, this is very unusual. What's happening now?
Because the chair is under tremendous pressure because, especially in the Lok Sabha,
yes,
the speaker is a member of political parties, and these days they don't even give up the political affiliation with them, and they have to, as Dr. Gill pointed out, they have to fight for elections again. So there are a lot of issues which are there as far as the independence of the role, whereas the chairman that way in the Rajya Sabha has a much more this thing, because once he is elected, he doesn't have to speak normally a re-election on behalf of a party. And
he, so, especially this chairman doesn't belong to a political party at any point.
So it happens. But then again, the deputy speaker or the deputy chairman, panel of chairman, all of them have political affiliation which they don't give up. But what I want to say is that the Business Advisory Committee of Parliament, which meets in the afternoon, decides tomorrow's or this week's business, coming week's business will be like this. But next morning, the parties which agree to this agenda, they themselves come and disrupt.
And then puts the chair in a very awkward situation.
Very awkward situation. So I think this is where, the consensus of political parties, and then as you rightly pointed out, what we had so many hours of discussion in the first Lok Sabha, if we can have so many 3 times more time, I think all the issues, the million mutinies can be aired in the House.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think on that note, we need to end on this 67th Independence Day when we are celebrating the Independence Day, what is happening in Parliament is something which has been of great concern to all of us. Anyway, this kind of discussion needs to take place so that we will see better functioning of hopefully the better functioning of the Parliament in the coming days and weeks and months. Thanks to all my guests, Dr. Najma Heptullah, Dr. M.S. Gill, Bhartruhari, Mahtab and Sachidananda Murthy. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue, big picture, same time tomorrow.